Tonight on the Fifth Estate, they're teenage girls, young, vulnerable, and they're being sold for sex.
I would work 24 hours a day.
She was first sold when she was 14.
And you can do one guy an hour. 24 guys sometimes in a day.
When she was 16, she was owned by a pimp.
The state that they get the girls in is like they're moving cattle. Like they get them so drugged up that if they even wanted to run away, they couldn't even run away.
Tonight, you'll meet the people trying to save the girls from being the next names added to the list of the missing and murdered.
We want to keep you alive. That's our goal.
Did anyone say this was easy?
I haven't seen any easy yet.
No, it's not easy. And who else is going to do this? Really think about it. What?
I love you, Wallace!
Okay.
I'm Mark Kelly, and this is the Fifth Estate. Edmonton is one of the fastest growing cities in North America. People drawn here by dreams. But like all cities, Edmonton has dark secrets. Teenage girls, sexually exploited, their lives very much at risk.
Okay, this is just the briefing for the covert portion of our operation tonight. So I'm the cover manager for this operation.
It's 9:45 on a Wednesday night, and an extraordinary operation is underway at this hotel. It involves about a dozen police officers teaming up with social workers in a race against time. Dave Shenning is a vice cop with the Edmonton Police. He's looking for young girls who are sold on the internet. When he thinks he finds one, he texts her, pretending to be a customer. But they won't arrest her when she arrives. If she's underage, they'll bring her to a safe house to rescue her from being sexually exploited.
Okay, I sent her a message if she's available tonight. Okay, let's wait a bit here and see what kind of response I get.
About an hour later, his text is answered. A girl is headed to the hotel. When she arrives, Shenning goes in to meet her. He's joined by Carrie Thomason, an outreach worker with Métis Child and Family Services. In the room waiting for them is a tough-talking 21-year-old.
Okay, thanks, sir. So, girl, listen, I want you to understand here something right from the get-go here is you're not in any trouble, okay? I'm not here to shit on you. You're in a driver's seat here right now. I really believe that the job you're doing, girl, is probably the most dangerous profession in the world.
It is.
But because she isn't underage, all they can do is urge her to leave the sex trade.
You want to talk about safety plans. Have you got a safety plan? Like, what if you walked in that door and it was some guy that was out to hurt you?
I do have a safety plan.
Tell me about your safety plan. What would you do?
My safety plan is my knife.
We have such a high murder rate. We have serial killers targeting our women. And escorting is no different. You're still at risk. And as you know, when you walk to a door, you never know who's in that bathroom, though. We've had it where girls have gone to the room. She's in there thinking, okay, it's just Buddy. And then when she gets further in past the door, we've had 3 other guys pop out of the bathroom. We want to keep you alive. That's our goal.
Yeah.
And then keeping you alive but getting you out of this shit show would be cool.
Honestly, I would just try to run up the door and just fight for my life. Because at the end of the day, if I'm screaming, if somebody's going to hear it, so somebody will hear it.
Well, hopefully.
Well, they will.
Not always do. We had one of our girls, literally, she wasn't found for about a week later. She was actually hidden under the mattresses.
Yeah.
So, and there was literally other people that had rented that room and were sleeping on top of the bed where she was dead underneath.
I heard that on the news.
So this is my card. And this is also a young lady that helps with us.
Okay.
So if you ever needing anything, can't get a hold of us, you can also call her.
Okay.
She does a lot of work with
Resources help.
She does great.
And if you need to get a hold of us, if you need to get a hold of me or us, get through them. They'll get a hold of me, no problem.
Okay.
Okay. Good luck, girl.
Meeting you, my dear.
Be safe.
Yeah. Which way is the
Okay, this way.
Half a dozen other women will show up and be shocked to find the police waiting for them. Will this be the catalyst to get them out of what they call the life? Carrie hopes so, and she knows the stakes are high. 2 of her cousins are among the missing. That's why her goal is to stamp out the sex trade one woman at a time.
It's heartbreaking, but at the same time, for each one of them that takes a step, it's the reason why we keep doing it.
Carrie keeps her own registry of the murdered and missing. It's an astonishing list. Since 2006, she's been collecting personal information from the sex trade workers she meets. There are 852 profiles. 80% of them are Aboriginal women. The names in red? All of them dead. Most of their deaths unsolved. Another critical piece of her database?
Look at all these teenagers.
Sadly, yeah, they didn't have an option.
Their age when they did their first trick.
Hey, Carrie, I just cannot get over the number of young teenagers on this list. I mean, it's not an aberration. It's common right through
Absolutely.
here.
And these are the ones that are willing to give us that information. Some of them are too ashamed to tell us that, you know what, I was 12 years old when I turned my first trick. It's not their issue. This isn't what they chose to do. It's not, you know, something that any of our girls ever said, you know what, I can't wait to grow up to be abused and used by men. I can't wait to turn my first trick at 12. It's just not, you know, you're not taught that unless you're brought into it.
Carrie knows the younger girls are kept deep underground by their pimps, making them harder to find, harder to rescue. So who will save these girls? Girls who were too young to lose. Girls like Savannah.
Growing up, you know, I had a really good life. I always wanted to be a doctor when I grew up, actually. It was like my life went really well until about grade 7, grade 8. I was raped for the first time when I was 13. So,
Who raped you?
my friend's dad, when I went for a sleepover.
What did that do to you?
You know, I felt like I was nothing. Like everything had been taken, right? Like I had nothing left of me. I felt like I was hopeless. Like how could somebody do this to me, right? I'm 13, I'm just going into like junior high.
Savannah tried to bury that secret, growing up in this middle-class neighborhood. She would only speak to us on the condition we changed her name and hid her identity. This much we can say. She was in most respects the girl next door, until that sexual assault led her on a downward spiral and to a side of the city she never knew existed.
Drugs made me feel numb. It made me not have to think about, you know, what happened to me being raped. I got kicked out of my house for doing the drugs, and I met this one girl actually one time at a party, and she said, you know, like, I know this way you can make like really fast money. And she's like, you know, I have some guys that I can hook you up with, you know, all you have to do is have sex with them and they'll pay you, you know, you get like $300, $400 a call. I'm like, wow, that's like amazing. I'm going on nothing, trying to support an addiction, which wasn't working very well. So I just got right into it.
But didn't you have any fear about what kind of life you were getting into?
I had no fear until things started happening to me.
Savannah explains how the pimps look for broken girls, then lure them into the life with drugs, clothes, affection, and attention. Savannah had just turned 14.
The pimps, they look like regular guys. Like basically they can spot you out of a crowd and they know that you're a victim of something. And so they easily get you.
Because if you're a victim, you're vulnerable?
Yes.
And you were vulnerable.
I was vulnerable. What they would do is to get you hooked, they would take you, you know, they would take me to West End, buy me everything I wanted. We would go to like the most expensive stores, we'd go to these awesome parties, we'd do everything. And then by that, like end of that week, they would say, well, you now owe me money.
Savannah's middle-class life was ripped from her. But for other girls, the hardships started even earlier. Like this girl we'll call Emily.
I remember my dad beating my mom up every day. And my mom, she was addicted to heroin. And that they'd leave us alone all the time.
Did you ever feel as a kid growing up that somebody loved you?
Well, I thought my parents loved me because I didn't know what they were doing was wrong. Like, I thought it was normal for people's parents to run off on them and for them to beat each other up and do drugs. And
Emily was finally removed from her parents' care, but then bounced from relatives' houses to foster care until her social worker dropped her off at a homeless shelter in Edmonton. She was just 16 years old.
no one really cared about me. Like, when I was starving and had nowhere to sleep at night, within 2 months I'd probably tried every drug. I just kind of felt like there was no hope in doing anything better with my life.
Emily met someone she considered her boyfriend. They were homeless. They scraped by selling drugs. She thought she'd hit rock bottom until he introduced her to something worse.
Took me into the room and asked me, he's like, if you really love me, I want to get a lot of money and run away together. And I was like, yeah, I really do care about you, you know? And he's like, well, would you be willing to make money a different way than you're used to?
Emily and Savannah are at risk of ending up out here, where sex trade workers fight over street corners. Every night, Carrie makes the rounds, checking in on the women who work here.
So this is 118 Ave now, so what many of the girls will call 95 Street and 118 Ave is known as Death Row, because this is where many of the girls that have gone missing or been found murdered worked this track area.
And you still see girls working this track?
Oh, absolutely. You betcha. This is still the hot spot for all the track.
Carrie spots someone she's seen out here before, someone she knows all too well.
I want to know what the hell. How come you didn't call and come back in?
I'll call her. I'll call on Monday, tomorrow.
Tomorrow is Monday.
Yes, I'll call. I will, Karen. Love you.
Love you, Beth. Stay safe, honey. One of her sisters was murdered.
This woman's sister was murdered here, and even then, she's not ready to walk away from the strip known as Death Row. The woman's pimp has a special hold on her.
Is it just another typical night?
Sadly, it is. Yeah, it is. I see it too often. Those are the ones, though, that break your heart, knowing that their mother put them up. And there's no justice for that. They're not going to tell anybody. They're not going to take their mother to court because, you know what? Some love is better than no love.
Saving a girl like that's going to be pretty tough.
Well, especially when her mother has such a grip on her.
Yeah.
No matter what we say to her, she still wants that love that she's not going to get. But if she can do anything to please her mom to get some better attention, that's what she's out here, shaking her ass and doing all that for her mom. Oh, I don't want to talk anymore.
When we come back, we go inside the booming online marketplace for underage girls.
But if you're looking for an underage girl now, she most likely.
Yeah, this is where I'll look. Absolutely. This is the first place I'll look.
Do you remember the first time you saw yourself on Backpage?
Yeah, I was really insecure about myself, so I just kind of thought, like, I can't believe my body is, like, up there for the world to see.
The following program contains coarse language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Edmonton is the only major city in Canada where crime is on the rise, including violent sexual assaults. But typically, many more assaults are never even reported. The victims remain hidden behind the walls of townhouses and comfortable neighborhoods, where teenage girls we met were sold for sex, while their pimps raked in the profits. Girls like Emily, who was 17 when her so-called boyfriend lured her into the life. But instead of selling her on the street, he sold her online.
And he told me that, like, I would be escorting, but it's like, he said, oh no, it's not like prostitution, it's different, you know, because it's like fancier, because you're on the internet and stuff. Like, no, I thought it was like, you know, the sexier, you know, less whorish version of selling yourself.
Dave, I want you to take me to Backpage, because if there's one thing I've heard over and over again from the girls that we've been speaking to, it's that they end up on Backpage.
Yep, that's true. That's probably the most popular. So I'm going to Edmonton Backpage, a local one. They're all over the country, North American wide. And what I'm going is where I find Backpage and all these adult escorts is in the escort site.
Backpage is just one of the many websites that Dave Schenning keeps an eye on. The veteran detective is looking for clues to help find underage girls who are being trafficked online. Schenning estimates 20% of the girls profiled here are under the age of 18.
The street level sex rate is dropped off. That means it still exists. There are, you know, a class of women that are still on the street, but it's a fraction. It's a very small part of what it used to be.
But if you're looking for an underage girl now, is she most likely?
Yeah, this is where I'll look. Absolutely, this is the first place I'll look. What I start looking at are things like their availability. Are they available 24/7? Nobody works 24/7. So when you see ads and they say they work 24/7, someone is. It suggests to me that somebody's working that phone for them. They're not in control of it. So that's a flag for me. Or they're in town for a short time. That means they're doing a circuit. So somebody's driving them or taking them around. I get a lot of these sex trade workers doing a circuit from Eastern Canada all over Western Canada, chasing the money.
Where they're being moved from town to town?
Yes.
Make some money in one town and then move on to the next?
Yes.
Before people like you catch up to them?
Exactly.
Do you remember the first time you saw yourself on Backpage?
Yeah.
What was that like? What did you see?
I was really insecure about myself, so I just kind of thought, like, I can't believe my body is, like, up there for the world to see, you know, like. And, like, my head wasn't in it, though, because I asked them not to, because, I mean, I did want to get a job eventually, and...
You were also underage.
Yeah, I was only 17 still. But on the Backpage, we put that I was like 19, I think.
Your boyfriend said to you, hey, just for a week.
Yeah.
Well, make some money in a week, everything will be great.
Yeah.
And we can run away. Is that what happened?
No.
And once they're online, they're in deep. They're now a commodity, owned and operated by their pimps, and always open for business. Savannah said the pimps didn't care about her, they only cared about money.
They'll make their own prices. They'll say, oh, this guy's $50, right? Like, they don't care. So I would have to work like all hours of the day, no sleeping. I would work 24 hours a day. And you can do one guy an hour. 24 guys sometimes in a day. Finish your one call, you know, it's the morning, say like 8 a.m. I barely get bathroom breaks in there. Like, I'm not allowed. Like, that is not allowed. You're just supposed to go, work. It's just, my whole day consists of one guy in, one guy out.
Pimps will move the girls from city to city. They call it the circuit. From Edmonton to Cold Lake to Fort McMurray. Moving the girls helps maximize profits and minimize the risk of attracting the attention of police. That's what happened to Samantha. The BC First Nations teen, orphaned, then abused in foster care, ended up on the streets at 16. Then she became the property of a pimp.
Yeah, we are moved from BC to Leduc to Fort McMurray, but to us it's all the same fucking hotel. It's all the same shit. A lot of the time when I was in different places, I didn't even know I was in those places until someone told me or until I was leaving that city or town. Like, that's how fucked up I would get. And that just gives them complete control. The state that they get the girls in is like they're moving cattle. Like, they get them so drugged up that if they even wanted to run away, they couldn't even run away.
The pimps use drugs to keep the girls numb and in debt, a debt they're always working to pay off.
I remember I would just shoot up, lock myself in the bathroom, and be shaking on the bathroom floor. And when I'd wake up, I'd be surprised I was even alive. You don't even know what's what. You don't even know who's inside. You don't even know what's going on. Like, seriously, I can't even explain to you. You don't even know reality at all. Like, when Vice came into one of the high-rises and they found me in the bathtub curled up with half my hair ripped out because they used to rip my hair out on meth. Like, I was up for 28 days in my underwear. And I didn't even know. And they had videotapes of guys raping me. I can't even tell you how much you don't know what reality is anymore.
It's difficult for those not in this life to understand why these girls don't run from their pimps. Savannah tried, but to her pimp, she was too precious a commodity.
I knew that these guys, my pimps, were taking everything I had. I had no identity anymore. I was just some random person. Nobody could contact me. I was a nobody.
Why couldn't you walk away?
It's not like that. Once you get involved with a pimp, they're usually involved in gangs, and they will come after you. I had to escape out of some pimps' houses through windows. They would find you, beat you, bring you back, tell you to not ever leave again, or they're gonna kill you. There is no escaping.
You're their property.
I am now their property. I've been sold. They will sell you.
How much were you sold for?
$3,000 for one person.
It would be months before authorities would find Savannah, but not until she had been badly beaten in a violent attack. But that allowed police to get her into a safe house, one step closer to getting her out of the life.
Sadly, that's if the guys get their hands into them first. It's hard for them to see any other light because of what they've done to them already.
Back in her office at the Métis Child and Family Services, Carrie's worried teen girls like Savannah, Emily, and Samantha will end up in her photo album. It's a bone-chilling collection.
It's one thing to have a list of names, but another thing to see the faces.
See the faces.
I mean, this is a binder of broken lives.
Mm-hmm, completely. And trying to repair them is not the easy part. It's extremely difficult.
So this is
Carrie asked us not to show the pictures. They're photos of sex trade workers, including their identifying marks like scars and tattoos. Documentary evidence in case they go missing or in the event police find a body. But among these photos, one that gives Carrie hope.
I mean, she's a great picture. She's going in for a social worker right now. She's in her second year. Tell you herself, I never thought I would even see my 50th birthday. And she's gonna see it. And she's gonna see it as a social worker now. So, I mean, that's what keeps us going in this, is that those little steps lead to bigger ones. So, I mean, it's all worth it. But, I mean, for those that are stuck, they may need a little shove and holler, yelled at on the street by me once in a while, but that's okay.
That's where you come in.
Somebody's got to be the bitch out there sometimes, and I'm taking that. I'll take it on.
Wallace,
What?
would you be able to drive me tomorrow somewhere for a visit?
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, on Wednesday.
Yeah.
When we come back, a radically different approach to helping girls at risk.
No, where the hell are we gonna go for frigging clothes? It's 8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock. The mall doesn't close till 9.
The following program contains coarse language. Viewer discretion is advised.
For every teenage girl being sold for sex in Edmonton, there's someone trying to find them and rescue them. Under Alberta law, police can apprehend underage girls who are being sexually exploited and take them to a safe house. But there are girls who are harder to reach, girls who are off the radar of most social agencies.
This is a tough neighborhood. I'm just gonna leave you in the car and I'll go get this thing. Yeah.
Meet Wallace Kendall, a former teacher turned outreach worker. He has his own unorthodox approach to reaching the unreachable. He doesn't believe in interventions to rescue girls. In fact, he doesn't even go looking for them. He waits till they find him.
I don't advertise. I do nothing like that. I mean, we don't try to find kids. They find us. You know, that I look at myself as a friend of these kids, honest, straightforward, do my best, make sure they have as much food as I can get them, and make sure they're taken care of as much as I can do that, right? If you're gonna do this, just do it straightforward. Don't try to have a lot of grand ideas. Like, I hate the preachy shit, right? Yeah. Oh my God, that's the thing that drives me nuts.
Wallace co-founded a group called iHuman, funded by private and public money and devoted entirely to helping high-risk kids living off the grid in the city.
Hello?
Hello, where are you?
Downtown and near the TD. I'll go around the block and I'll meet you at TD. I'll go around, okay? I'll give you some bus tickets.
On this night, among his many challenges is to keep this teen safe. She's supposed to go to rehab tomorrow.
He's going back the fuck out.
Am I gonna take you back to the safe house later? It's only 8 o'clock. Would you go back?
Maybe around 10, I'm saying. That's around 10, maybe 10:30.
What?
I love you, Wallace!
Okay. Here, you carry this stuff.
Oh, sure.
There's 2.
All through the night, Wallace and his car only stop long enough to pick up one teen
Okay, I'll be back.
and drop off another. It's difficult to see how this will help steer these girls into a better life.
Oh, fuck, man.
Explain to me what we were just doing today. I just saw you running a circuit. I mean, to me, it looked like you were a taxi service for these girls. But clearly,
I am a taxi service. But the thing is that within that taxi service, there's a critical issue happening. So I'm doing all that stuff. But more important than that is the conversation. Because they're going to unload on me everything that's going on. So in a way, I get to hear all the critical issues that they're facing. And I've got to try and translate that into something to get them out of the cave, as I call it. Well, what I'm going to do is I'll get you picked up tomorrow. Okay. So we can
And deep in the cave is where Wallace found a girl we'll call Nicole. She's 16 years old and has been hurt time and time again. Her spirit, like her body, badly scarred.
I see a lot of marks on your hands.
Yeah.
What's that? Where are those from?
Once I started this, I've got cuts all up my arms. Because I feel so bad about myself. So, and the things I do.
How does cutting yourself help?
It's a release in a way. It's a different type of feeling for me. It's a different type of pain to feel. And it just reminds me I'm still here. I am somehow still surviving, so.
Nicole was born to a First Nations mom, later adopted by a middle-class family. Badly bullied, her bouts of rage landed her in a group home at the age of 13. That's where a man who was 10 years older found her and began grooming her. He would convince her to sell her body on the streets for him.
You heard about girls who went missing. Do you think that could happen to you?
At first, no. But then I started hearing stories from friends and stuff, or other girls on the app who knows how young I was, right? And they'd say, well, you gotta get someone to watch your back.
How do you think you've managed to survive all these years?
I don't know.
The law and order approach of confining her didn't work for her. She's been rescued at least 10 times, only to return to her pimp. She couldn't give him up to police.
Their supports aren't the kind of support someone would need. They want you to basically rat out or talk to the police about these people, but you know you can't, and they don't seem to understand fully.
Why can't you?
Because if you're labeled a rat on the streets, you might as well be dead.
And for some high-risk teens, this is the last resort. This is the office of iHuman, where there's no pressure, no judgment. A safe haven for girls on the edge of being drawn into the life.
Hi. Hi, Dakota. So I'm gonna read to you? Yeah. So where I left off. Okay.
Did you read since last time?
No.
Oh. Okay. That's all right.
Take Dakota, for example. She's 16 years old and struggles to read. She got help once she asked for it.
I think of his last orders. Don't trust them. Don't go back. Kill Peter. Do what you came to do.
Good.
Can I stop reading now?
Dakota.
She did good.
How are you doing?
For Wallace, this is a model that works. Start with a car ride, build some trust, turn that trust into an anchor for kids who feel abandoned by their families and social agencies.
Like, these kids are so disconnected, right? And half of them, like Dakota, doesn't have a place to live. So that's a problem. Nobody wants to work with these kids because they're too difficult.
I'm the one who made the bannock, so
Well, yeah, but she's helping you.
she's just frying it up.
Well, what's more important than frying it up?
Having to mix it all together and make sure it's the right shit, yo.
And yo, are you gonna do your own dishes?
Fuck no. Carter's a dishwasher.
Have you ever eaten bannock?
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I smiled as soon as I saw that.
After falling through the cracks of other social agencies, Nicole has landed here, but her future still hangs by the thinnest of threads.
I do want to change, it's just I have to, like, I think wanting to and being ready to in my world are different. Like, I really do want to, but I don't think I'm ready to actually make the move to change, so.
Is it scary for you to think of making the change?
Yeah, because at this point, I wonder what it'd be like prostitution and drug-free. Would it be a good life? And I don't know, when I think about it, I get lost in thinking, what would it actually be like? So.
That doesn't make it sound like you see it as a better life.
That's the problem. I'm sure it would be, but I just don't see that far down the road right now. See, I somehow got from there to here.
Did you?
Nicole may not be ready to make that leap, so for now, Wallace wants to keep her warm and safe. Her coat was stolen. She walks Edmonton's frigid streets in a hoodie, so he takes her shopping for a coat and new shoes. A gentle reminder someone's looking out for her.
Let's have a quick look in here, because you need shoes.
Yeah. I'll just find a large hoodie here, because look at the hoodies.
Yeah, you could. The hoodies are nice.
How do you measure your success?
I don't. Are you nuts?
Why not?
Because I don't think I would use success as a mantra of this. I've had terrific results with girls changing their lives. There's no fixes for these kids. You know, you can't fix them. You have to work with them and then see if they somehow, when they get a bit older, can come out of that shadow place that they're in.
When we come back, what does the future hold for the three other girls we met?
Well, you're doing already so well, and I'm so extremely proud of you.
I know, but I still have my doubts. Like, I text you and I'm just like...
But you're doing so well.
Every day in Edmonton, there's a struggle over the most vulnerable of teens. Police and social agencies trying to pull them out of a life of sexual exploitation, while powerful pimps try to pull them deeper into a life of sex, money, and drugs. Remember Savannah, the girl next door? Well, she says she's struggling to leave the life, but now has help from social worker Kayla Sims.
Well, you're doing already so well, and I'm so extremely proud of you.
I know, but I still have my doubts. Like, I text you and I'm just like...
But you're doing so well.
Savannah's been sent to a safe house twice in an attempt to get her out of the grasp of her pimp. But her caseworker knows one drug binge and she could be lost again.
Would you ever consider going back?
To where?
To treatment.
Kayla, don't tell me this right now. I don't know. I think right now I'm doing pretty good.
You are doing amazing.
I'm just gonna leave the rehab on the side for now.
On the back burner?
I've had multiple situations where I should not be here. I'm alive, you know, some don't make it out alive. I would not want anybody to go through what I've been through. It's not somewhere you want to be. It's not somebody you want to be.
Let me see that baby.
What about Emily, whose so-called boyfriend lured her into the life? Well, she's now a mother of a baby boy. She's made a clean break because she wants to give her son something she never had, a mother who puts her child first.
Growing up, people would always tell me, oh, you're exactly like your mom. Because I do look like my mom, but I didn't want to be like my mom because my mom was a drug addict. She prostituted.
Oh, did you realize you were starting to become your mom?
Yeah, just felt like exactly like people were right, you know? I'm gonna end up exactly like my mom, like 40-something and still doing drugs and having kids taken away from me.
How do you want your son to see you when he's growing up?
I want him to know that I was always there for him.
And you want to protect him in the way that you weren't protected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So hopefully this counselor that your advocate recommended will be good, and if not, if she's too busy, then I know another person that specializes in, and we can call them as well if she's booked.
Then there's Samantha, the girl who was moved like cattle from town to town by her pimp. She was sent to a safe house. Kayla is her caseworker too. She's trying to connect her with a psychologist. Her best hope for a future may be to free her from her past.
Do you think anyone would notice if you had died, if you had been dumped on the side of the road?
I would have just been another one of missing murdered women that is unexplained and not mourned very much because it's too common. Like, it's a miracle that I'm here. Like, that there's no amount of money that's worth your body. And nobody that exploits you cares about you at all. Because you can never do that to somebody that you love.
We give a lot of our girls my cell number. So if I don't hear from my girls in an hour, I'm gonna send them a text saying, "What's up?"
Meanwhile, back at the hotel, the rescuers keep rescuing. Every month, Vice Cop Dave Shenning and social worker Carrie Thomason set up a sting to save underage girls and persuade women like this 23-year-old to get out of the life while they're still alive.
And I came out here. And I was actually going to try to go find a real job in Fort Mac. That was my plan. But then I got sidetracked. It's hard. Like, you know, I can go to a call and, like, walk away with, like, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, I mean, like, yeah. It's kind of tempting.
But it's like gambling, it's risky.
It is like gambling.
That temptation is never going to go away fully. That's the reality of it, right? So, yeah, they got to go legit completely, because one toe in, one toe out is just fucked. That temptation, the money, all of it. It's a little too easy and too addicting to stay into the game.
Hopefully she took in half of what we offered her, and hopefully she'll come around one day. Can't control that. She's a grown-up. If I rescue one girl, if one girl gets out of the sex trade, it's a victory. We've done something.
But victories are hard to come by. A month after we first met Savannah, she disappeared. So Kayla scours escort sites looking for her. Too young to lose, Savannah is now one step closer to being lost.
I look at Backpage almost every day just to make sure there's no ad that resembles her. She'll just text me random things or at weird times. And I wonder how does she have money? How is she living? How's she paying for her drugs if she's using